Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. For those of you who are new, very warm welcome to you all. Please do consider clicking that subscribe button down below. And as you can see today, we're at Manchester Airport by Mako Simulations and on one of the heavy stands because we have got the first iteration version 0.1 of the beta for the Project Megapack's Airbus A330-300, and externally it looks absolutely incredible, to be fair, got to say. Wasn't quite sure what to expect, but it's nice to see a massive jet in the sim. I know it is based on the default Airbus A320neo inside, so let's have a little look. This is the first time I'm checking this out, guys, and I'm recording it as I'm doing it, so let's have a little look. Bearing in mind I'm used to the A32NX as well, it's going to be quite interesting seeing what this can and cannot do. But it is based on the default A320, so bear that in mind. Now, the first thing I did notice was this massive handle here, which I'm hoping they improve / get rid of at some point in the near future, because it's kind of, if you go here, which is a kind of a natural viewpoint for how you would fly, I guess, how you'd sit, all you can see is this massive knob. So again, it's early access, so got to give them time to fix all this up. But inside it looks like the default A320neo, but with modifications, so it does look completely different in the sense that a lot of these dials and things have been moved about, stretched, and currently some of these instruments here are blank. So let's go ahead and get external power. And of course this isn't going to have any of the sounds that we're familiar with on board the A32NX, and a lot of the switches and things that we're used to are in op. See what signs, no signs at work, and let's go ahead and get the APU on. So what I'm going to do for the purpose of this video is I'm going to go through how it all works, setting it all up, taxiing, and takeoff, seeing what it can and cannot do basically. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Be sure to click subscribe and hit like. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Nothing major for a flight plan. We're just going to give it a little go. I think the buttons here need a fair bit of work. And we'll just do it as if we're going direct. It's a single click and it goes straight in by the looks of it for that. And see what this can input here. So that could be changed. Flight plan wise, let's go ahead and put some departures in, and let's go plan mode, zoom on out, and we'll set up for a departure 123 right, and it's the Samba 1 Romeo departure is what we usually want for this route. We go back into the temporary flight plan, that can go in there, and then we'll just put in a Gatwick arrival, ILS 26 left, VAR Willow, and we'll insert that. So in the RadNav page, the ILS seems to have gone in itself. And all of this seems to have automatically calculated itself as well. APU is available, so let's get the bleed on. Let's turn the beacon on. Some of the switches and things naturally would be clear in the aircraft usually, but they're just blank white at the moment. and the displays do look significantly different, to be fair. But this is a free aircraft, and it's based upon a amendment to the A320neo base files. First things first, pushback.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead, flight deck.
We are ready for pushback and engine start.
Roger. Release the parking brakes, please.
Parking brakes released.
Here we go.
Machine back.
So it must be noted that the A32NX files must be removed before you use this, because they are not currently compatible, sadly. Hopefully in the near future that will be sorted out, as it will significantly improve this aircraft. And there are some known issues as well. So currently mouse controlled spoilers and reversers don't work, so you need to use keybinds and peripherals like my throttle to control those. And the side stick rubber apparently is wrong, it's black, it should be blue. They haven't got any icing or wind flex built in just yet either. The rudder's too sensitive at the moment, but again this is being worked on, and sometimes the windshield can make things look a little bit blurry apparently too. But they've stressed that they are looking to get this improved and updated in the very near future. No chrono to time the start up, but we've got engine 2 starting.
You are cleared for high ninging. Start your engines at your discretion.
Such a beast of an aeroplane. Engine 1 start. And once engine 1 started, we'll see how she taxis.
Pushback complete. Set parking brakes, please.
So this has all been changed by the looks of it, and payloads etc. all very different. Fuel quantities are significantly increased, and the payload itself as well can be increased right up to a total maximum takeoff weight of 233 kilograms. Maximum takeoff weight in the real A330-300 though I believe is 242 tons, so that should be 242,000 kilograms I believe. And that's engine 1 started as well, so ignition mode norm. Let's get rid of the APU. Wing lights, taxi lights, and let's have a little look at some animations. If we try to go full right aileron, it will deflect, and it looks like the spoilers sort of deflect as well. And full left, we get a full deflection of the aileron down as well, which is really good. Let's go flaps 1, and let's check the spoilers deflection. Moving to the rear, let's check the elevator controls fully up and full forward stick for nose down, and we go full left rudder and full right rudder. And there we go, there's some ailerons etc. all moving around, looking quite good. As you can see as well, the slats have moved forwards too. So park brake off. Let's see how she taxis and handles. Quite wheezy. PFD brightness etc. can be switched on the left hand side on this little panel here that they've moved. And we're moving. During today's flight then, we're going to be checking the ability for the aircraft to do and handle direct to inputs. And I'll be seeing how it lands and flies it an ILS approach as well into Gatwick Airport. So stay tuned, be sure to check out all of those elements of the flight today as well. We're going to put it through its paces to see whether or not it would be something that we could just about make use of and manage on VATSIM. I can see what they mean when they say that the rudder is quite sensitive, because it does turn quite sharply sometimes, but nothing too much to worry about. Let's go auto brake max. Ground spoilers armed. I'm trying to remember how the default A320neo used to fly, but I've not used it since September, which is a very long time ago. Handles quite nicely on the ground though, I've got to say. Brakes quite sharp as well. So just before we depart, let's have a little look at the night lighting. Beacon's nice and bright. Tail looks pretty good. Put some strobes on. They're looking quite bright. As are the landing lights too. So lighting wise, they all certainly look absolutely fine. So then, lining up runway 23 right for a departure, a very short flight down to London Gatwick in the new Project Megapack Airbus A330-300 series. Top tip, taxiing on the ground, remember you are a lot longer, so you don't want to stick to the yellow line. Especially on narrow taxiways, you'll find you're going over the grass, so head out. And then when you're about here, you want to then start a turn to try and get your centre line between the two main wheels, really. So one thing to note as well, just before we do go for it, takeoff config, and not all of these buttons down here do anything. So it's not like we can go and do a takeoff config test here. But we need auto brake max, that does work. And first takeoff, let's just see how it goes. Bearing in mind as well, we are at 200 tons. It should be quite a heavy departure. So spool it first. That's 40% M1 and we're not moving. There we go. Flex. That's a very wheezy noise. So, get in there, V1, rotate. V2, positive brake, go up. I'm going to try and hold that S. It's quite a steep departure though still. But we're up. Autopilot 1 on, Let's see how she handles. Leave a climb. So into the climb gate. Not that it wants to go in. Still. No, now we've got asymmetric. There we go, that was a bit of a fight. That doesn't usually happen for me. And it's not recognising leave a climb. So spoilers clean. Autopilot's on and we've got managed modes in place except for that climb to 5,000. And we'll continue a climb up to 19,000 feet. It's still not quite worked out that I am in lever climb mode. So that is a bug at the moment. We're turning. And it's lost 250. I was wondering what it was doing. Let's see what it does. What we'll try to do is find where the climb gate, where it thinks the climb gate is. Because obviously this section here that we've just experienced is important for VATSIM. We don't want to overspeed over 250 below 10,000. There's the fight to try and get back in the climb gate. So that still thinks it's in flex MCT. If I drop it back a bit to there, then the auto throttle is happy. So at the moment, that's kind of where the climb gate is aligned, I think. But again, version 0.1, hopefully they get it changed. And we're flying to Samba at the moment. So it's not a particularly complex route, but I've done it in a bit of a confusing way because we've set up for the wrong arrival procedure. And I've done that intentionally because I want to see if I put in another one, will it break? Coming up to transition at the moment. And what we want is the Kidley 1 Golf arrival, basically. So we're going to see if that works. Accelerating over 10,000. I hope they change all the sounds. Because it is very high-pitched, screamy. So let's change our arrival procedure. So we still want 2.6 left. But now we want the Kidley 1 Golf. And we want to go via Willow, not Timber. So we completely changed our star. Insert. And that's not broken yet, which is good. And now we're going to go direct to Midhurst. We'll see if we get a direct to in and break it. And that's handling it quite nicely as well. And let's see if we can force it back to Kidley. For our direct 2's cancelled. So, part of the arrival into Gatwick on the Kidley arrival is direct to Midhurst, of course, and Midhurst is a VOR, so let's do 114.0. And we want to leave Midhurst on a track of 116. We've also got the Mayfield VOR of 117 decimal 9. So that's all looking pretty good, and the next time you guys... So what we'll do next is we will snap to descent and approach. Now we're just coming up to cruise. But so far no problems, except for the throttle. So we have to be at Kidley at flight level 150. Let's start tracking that VOR as well to Midhurst. And currently not getting a DME, but hopefully when we get a bit closer that will kick in place. So, it just so has it that the weather's just changed in Gatwick. So I'm trying to test this out as best as I can, and now we need to configure for an arrival for runway 08. So, let's go change in this to ILS 08 right. Still will stick with Kidley, but I'll notice it's just changed itself to via Timber, which we don't want. So, Kidley, change the via to Willow, insert temporary. The RadNav page has changed, and what's the aircraft doing now? I think what it's doing is it's getting itself back in line to fly to Kidley, but I'll give it a minute to see what it does. We're currently working for a descent down to 15,000 as well. What I have noticed is it's adhering to the constraint. So there's a speed constraint at 250 knots there at Kidley, and it's respecting that, and it's actually targeting 240. Or at least for now anyway. Anyway, into the performance page, and we need to configure for our approach. And the winds have shifted all the way around, funnily enough. Now I've put it back on live weather, and it's 050/10 knots. Temperatures +8 degrees, and the QNH 1029. Approach speed showing at 285, which is a little bizarre. That's not correct, of course, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But let's clear out some of the tanks. I think that should mean 160. But the RadNav page, everything's all in there, and it looks like the aircraft's flying us direct to Willow again. Not that it's put the line in place. So let's go direct Midhurst, and back we go. Now we want to start descent down to 6,000. And we need to set the ILS at 3,000, so let's target that. And to be fair, it's holding 1,600 foot per minute in open descent quite nicely at the moment. So no complaints there. And the flight plan's updated itself too. Let's check vertical speed mode. So descent is absolutely fine. Let's have a little look how it flies an ILS approach. So one thing that they need to work on, of course, is the tracking of the abilities of the VOR. Currently I've tuned Midhurst and Mayfield into Gatwick, and neither of them are showing up at the moment. However, we have got the blue line, which is the course from Midhurst, That said, I'm going to clear that because we don't need it now, and it's not allowing us to do that. So, how about vectoring? So we're flying in, and we're coming in early because we're flying into 08. And we've been given vectors by ATC. He's just changed his mind, now we want to go to 070. 170 degrees, sorry. And resume our navigation. We'll do 165 degrees. So, almost there, it's about 1 degree off. All good, so back onto managed. So one thing I've just done as a test is making use of the auto throttle, and I've just gone into a managed speed of 282, and it's rocketed up to that, and slightly overshot it, but it's corrected itself very quickly. Hope you guys are enjoying the full review of this. So then, welcome back. We are just starting to think about positioning ourselves for the ILS Approach into Gatwick. So just past Farnborough down below, and everything's been okay-ish so far. What I'm now going to do is look at descending, continuing a descent down to 3,000 feet. And I'm now going to go ahead and select, instead of flying a mid-Hurst, I want to select a heading of 140 degrees. And I want LS mode on as well, which is saying we've got 21.8 miles to go, and Gatwick's just off the other side of the pillar somewhere. In the distance, somewhere, I'm not sure. I have descending very early, but that's because I kind of wanted to see what the terrain map would do. And it also does seem to work still. Auto brake max shouldn't be allowed to be switched on at this stage of the flight after takeoff, but we can select low and medium. We'll select low for the purpose of this today. And we can go ahead and select to arm the ground spoilers. We haven't got anything in like we do in the fly-by-wire mod where we can then click cabin crew all call or anything. What's it doing? Brilliant. So, completely bugged out. It's now trying to go as fast as it possibly can. Okay, well that's correct. Let's zoom in on the dials, and we'll select 130 now. Buzzing along quite low down. I mean, it's done me a favour because now I can deploy the spoilers and see how they work. Oh, good grief, that is rather sharp. And I'm not sure what the green dot speed should be for us really, because it's not visible, so we'll go flaps 1. I get the feeling it should be around about now. Let's select auto throttle again. Now I've got a speed selected. And I'm trying to find where the climb gate is again. I think it was about there from memory. Let's vector ourselves again. Oops, that's shot round way too fast. Good grief. I've got no heading bug, which is interesting. There we go, I've got a heading bug there. Nearly did overshoot the turn, bizarrely. And let's see how it lines up on the ILS then. I've given it the opportunity to be very below this at the moment. So let's go to 180, actually let's do 180 knots. So we've not really got the nose up too much. Let's slow down a little more. We're at 10 miles now. Let's go flaps 2. How does this look outside? So we've got a bit of a flap deflection there. There's the airport. And we've got an F indication there. So let's target that. 144, 143. Keeps moving. So around about 146 knots was kind of what I was expecting. And that's pretty much where it is now. But we have got 5 degrees nose up. So let's try flaps 3. Well, I couldn't see any change in behaviour there. Let's go gear down. And I was expecting the ILS to capture. It has. Let's go full flaps. What I'm going to do is I'm using the flight recorder mod, and I'm going to after landing, I'm going to replay the landing from outside to see what it looks like from there. Now we should be targeting a couple of degrees nose up. We're on about 2. So that's there. That's 130 knots. But it's flying the ILS like the default A320 is, I guess. Speeds, etc. as well. So we've got 3 green, auto brake set to low, flaps full, ground spoilers aren't. We've got no landing memos or anything, sadly. And we've got our minimums of 100 foot. So, all good, stable on the approach. That's the view I want. He's tracking it nicely. 2 red, 2 white on the pappies. One thing it can't do at the moment, from what I've just gathered, was VORs. So it can't track any VORs or NDBs at the moment. We don't get any display needles for that, which is kind of important for quite a few destinations around the world. But it can do an ILS. It's not tracked the VORs at all. It's given us course, but no needles to or from the VORs or NDBs. So, I have control. Let's see how she flies for this last phase of flight. I'm quite happy with the speed at the moment, with our nose being about 2.5 degrees nose up. I did expect the aircraft to have to come in a little bit quicker though, I have to say. I feel like we could go to about 120 knots and it'd still be fairly acceptable, which I kind of think is a bit too slow. Don't forget we're going to use flight recorder and have a little look at the outside once we've landed, so be sure to watch that. Great shadow, look at that. To be fair, that is a great shadow to see.
60, 50, 40, 30, 20. Retard.
And we're down. Has it deployed the spoilers? Yes. Reverse thrust. And we're in decel. And we can come off this high speed exit, which suddenly looks very narrow. So let's have a little look at the animations for the flaps going in. And let's head straight to the replay to have a little look at what that looked like from the outside. So here we go. Short finals, manually flying it.
100. 60, 50, 40, 30, 20. Retard.
Here we go, me trying to trace it with the replay. And once brakes were deactivated, of course, it meant that the spoilers dropped themselves down. So let's turn the APU on. Landing lights off. And strobe lights off as well. And we'll go and park up on a remote stand here at Gatwick, and we'll test the ground services. And we'll use stand 144 middle. So remembering we are a lot longer, so you need to take that into account. You're turning to line the main wheels up, centre of the main wheels up, with the yellow line of course. Like so. So bear that in mind, you are much longer. And let's turn the final few lights off as well there. There we go. So that's engine 1 and 2 off. Beacon, seatbelts, And now let's check out the ground services. Using FS2 Cruise Pushback Express in this instance, but occasionally we would also use the Pushback Helper on flightsim.to. So got no stairs available, but we've got catering, baggage. I have requested stairs, but what we'll do is we'll go and spawn somewhere else and check them out, and we'll watch these guys work away, see how it all lines up. So that's looking pretty good. So then, here we are at stand 52 middle at Gatwick. Suitable of course for the A330-300 series, and let's go ahead and toggle the jetway. Re-enable baggage and catering. And let's request a power supply. So while they're all getting connected, let's have a little look at how the jetty has aligned itself. So the jetty itself seems to have aligned fairly well, although maybe a little close to the flight deck door itself. The aircraft sits quite well on the ground as well. I noticed that during taxiing as well, the aeroplane sat quite nicely on the ground. Ground equipment wise, they all line up and work quite well actually, I've got to say. And catering there, as you can see, works pretty well as well. And from the beginning of the video, you guys will remember that the pushback worked perfectly fine too. Now make sure of course that you're using gates that are suitable for an aircraft of this size. So it's no good spawning at, say for example, stand 52 right, or a smaller version, a smaller stand at Gatwick Airport that is only suitable for small aircraft like the A320neo, because then it might not line up. You might expect to get some issues. You need to be looking for those gates that are large enough to accommodate an aeroplane of this size. So be sure to take that into consideration of course. But it's free and it's available now. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Hope you've enjoyed the short little test flight. You'll be pleased to know it does handle direct twos fairly well. And it certainly does feel a lot heavier as well. Takeoff wise, we use most of the runway at Manchester, so it does feel significantly heavier. But give it a go, let me know what you think. Be sure to click on that subscribe button down below as well. And if you've enjoyed the little video, then be sure to click that like button too. While you're here, make sure you check out all of my latest tutorials on how to get started on the VATSIM network, and check the schedule for our upcoming live streams. But thank you all for watching, hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in a live chat for a stream in the very near future. Take care.